analysts with over 20 minutes of experience between them. They rate movies on a scientifically rigorous scale, approved or denied. They watch it, so you don't have to. This is Quality Assured Films.
Welcome back to Quality Assured Films. I'm Mike.
I'm John.
And this is our first review of 2019 for a movie that came out in 2019.
That's right. Hopefully you enjoyed our 2018 end-of-year wrap-up series. That was a lot of fun to make.
Definitely. And we're on to bigger and better things this year. One of the ways you can help us do that is by clicking the subscribe button, which you've heard every YouTuber ever say.
Yep.
It looks like this. Thank you to the 60-odd number of you that have done that already. If you haven't, please consider doing so, because that helps YouTube's algorithm put us in more people's recommendations, which means more people will see us.
That's right. Now, enough housekeeping. Let's get right into it. We watched a fantastic film, Alita: Battle Angel.
You told me the story of the war, when the ground shook and the sky burned. Of the ones that survived, who awoke to a different world, where the powerful prey on the weak. But that's not the way it has to be.
So what'd you think of Alita: Battle Angel?
I really liked it a lot, and I was not expecting to. I've been burned so many times on manga and anime live-action adaptations that I went in with extremely low expectations.
Right.
How about you? What'd you think?
I mean, I was surprised as shit because I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know anything about this. I didn't even know it was based on anything. I mean, as soon as I saw Robert Rodriguez and, what was it, James Cameron?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm down. I mean, it might be okay with the luck we've had lately with movies. And I don't even want to talk about this. We'll mention it later on, but fucking Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I have no hope that this is going to be good.
And I found you. Your very human brain was miraculously intact.
It's the loneliest feeling not to know who you are.
In time, you'll remember.
So with all that in mind, I would go as far as to say that this is the best live-action manga or anime adaptation since Speed Racer, the Wachowskis' Speed Racer movie, which is a good movie. Fuck you, fight me.
There's a history behind this film, right? Like, wasn't it they were trying to make it for a long time or something?
Yeah, James Cameron had the rights to it for, I don't know, 20 years or something? Like, a really long time. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but he's been trying to get this movie made for a really long time, and he basically did all the development already. So when he decided that his next 10 movies are going to be Avatar sequels, Robert Rodriguez stepped in and said, well, if you're not going to do anything with this, please let me make it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's how it got started.
And that's exactly where I then question, is this how great films are made? Is it just a matter of taking your goddamn time and working with the right people to make a film rather than just rushing shit out? Because it showed in it. This felt like an established world, established characters. Now, granted, again, like you said, it's based on something already, so they have that established material to work from. But it never felt generic like some of those films we've talked about before.
Alita is new here.
It's a harsh world down here. You gotta be willing to do what it takes.
I think this would be a good movie, a good entry point into manga, anime, sci-fi, fantasy storytelling for a younger audience, because one of the things I appreciated about the movie was that it felt really earnest. For example, there's a scene where the Hugo character says to Alita, who's an android or a cyborg, "You're the most human person I know."
Right.
And I was like, oh.
I thought the exact same thing with that part.
But I'm saying I viewed that as a positive rather than a negative. Mm-hmm. I was okay with that.
What'd you think about the pacing of the film? I think it clocked in somewhere a little over 2 hours.
Yeah, right around there. That was probably the weakest part of the movie for me. That was one of my biggest criticisms, was that there was a section in the middle where it just felt like we should have been spending time on something else.
Yeah.
I definitely felt that lull. That is because there's a lot of competing storylines, and each of them have a lesser movie's worth of information in them.
Right.
So you had like the rollerball plot, then you had Alita's amnesia plot, then you had the Hunter Warrior plot, and each of them were vying for the top spot.
Alita, they will come for you.
I'll have to face them head on.
One thing I want to talk about is this was a very CGI heavy film.
Yeah.
So I expected, when I saw the bad guys to be like, oh god, here we go. It's like Robert Rodriguez's 3D Spy Kids.
That's interesting, because we talked a lot about Steppenwolf and Thanos last year.
Yeah.
And the big CGI bad guys that never feel real, I think were your words.
Yep, exactly.
So here again we have big CGI bad guys.
I want to rip you open and see if you're ugly inside.
Another thing that I think this movie did right was it gave each of them some pathos. They each had their own motivation and backstory to be doing what they were doing, and it made them a little bit sympathetic. To have a brief moment where we understood why they were doing what they were doing made it feel more real.
You will never triumph until you understand what she is.
Let's talk about the cast a little bit.
Oh, yes. Oh, man. Christoph Waltz, fantastic. I love him in everything he's in. I mean, the first time I heard of him, of course, maybe like most of you, what was that? The Inglourious Bastards?
Yes.
Where he played the Nazi guy. Oh, my God. Terrifying. But to see him come from that point to the hilarious commercials we've seen him in, and to now being Alita's father, Alita.
Thanks to the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 with S Pen. Perfect for busy Americans like us.
I'm pleased to say that Christoph Waltz is officially anime now,
Yes.
as shown in this tweet.
Are you engaged?
No.
We'll discuss it later, okay?
And then you got, of course, Alita's love interest, Nick Jonas, the Jonas Brothers. What? Was that him? No, I like the dude. He was really good. I don't know who he was.
How long were you saving that up for?
I love it.
I was laughing about that character because I was like, oh, this is clearly Robert Rodriguez's self-insert character.
Oh.
He had the bandana and everything.
Yeah.
Another thing about that Hugo character that I liked was that it was a bit of a role reversal romance story where he was the babe.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many shots of him, like, with his abs, with his shirt off, and she had to bail his ass out so many times. So that was another positive, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he's like the damsel in distress.
I'm gonna need you to stand way back.
Mahershala Ali.
Yes.
What'd you think of his performance?
I mean, he was all right. I never really felt afraid of him or anything like that. I was a big fan of him on the. I don't even want to bring that up.
House of Cards.
Yeah, House of Cards. Remember that show? So the first time you see him, he's in the back of a limousine, and like the door opens and this character walks in and he just like sits up and he's like trying to be intimidating.
I think that's the writing of the character, because he plays that role really well. But he essentially played Copperhead from Luke Cage season 1, which is his exact character.
Oh, okay.
He played the mob boss. And I was like, okay, well, we know we can play that character, and so he was a perfect fit. Someone of his caliber, I would want to be the main bad guy, to give him more to work with, rather than just the underling. Jennifer Connelly was in this.
Yes, I didn't even know that going into it, too, and I'm a huge fan of hers. I mean, one of my favorite films with her in it, of course, Requiem for a Dream, Jared Leto, Marlon Wayans. Fantastic film, dark as shit, highly recommended, but it was great to see her in this.
Probably not fair, but I always think of her in Labyrinth. So, a little older than that movie. Your eyes have kind of paled you. Her character is conflicted, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But my point is that the arc of her character was extremely rushed, and I felt that was another pacing issue that they just did not. They had so much ground to cover that they did not have any time.
You are someone very special.
Hey, kid.
Not just a teenage girl.
Hey, what's your problem?
And of course, Alita, played by What was her name?
Rosa Salazar, I think is her name.
Okay. I talked about her during Bird Box. She was in that film. I loved her. Again, like the whole time I'm watching the film, because they add this amazing effect where she has huge eyes.
Oh, yeah. They were a little uncanny valley the first time you see them.
Yeah.
You warm up to them over the movie. While we're on the topic of Alita and her performance, I wanted to talk about these quiet moments that we spend at the front of the movie with her.
Yeah.
These private moments where she's learning about herself. That goes so far to endear us to her character. And if the movie got nothing else right, getting us on board with rooting for her is the most important thing. And so even when we had these issues with pacing and stuff, I still really cared about Alita. I was really rooting for her, and so that carried me through those moments of pacing issues.
Yeah.
I want to find out what happens. I want her to win. And that is what so many other manga and anime adaptations get wrong that this movie gets right and nails.
She's threatening the natural order of things.
And now it's time to get into some spoiler talk. We're gonna go outside at night and be hunter warriors.
What? Alita, you can't do this, my Broomhilda. Let's spoil the fuck out of this movie!
Busy, busy, busy.
So the production design is actually the first thing I want to talk about here. It was cool sometimes. Iron City, which is the city that they live in, doesn't really seem that bad. It's supposed to be like they frame it as it's the slum town of just decaying, decrepit, post-apocalyptic, kill or be killed kind of society, but it seems fine.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's sunny,
thriving. People are
everyone's friends.
Right. I almost wondered if like that underworld that remember she's fighting that the guy who brings her down into like the depths of like what was once the world. That should have been the city. That would have been like fucked up.
I liked it. It just clashed with the movie's message that everyone was supposed to be living in extreme poverty.
Yeah.
Because that was not made clear visually. The costume design, for example. Everyone in the stadium is just wearing sports jerseys and like I'm pretty sure there's an establishing shot where they show like a tourist in cargo shorts, and then like somebody's uncle walked by in the background just wearing like a bowling shirt and jeans, and I was like, wait, hold on, like did anyone see that guy? Did he just walk through the set and nobody noticed?
Oh my god!
You had like all the thought going into the bounty hunter designs, and when people would show like. Like you were saying, like the skin grafted over the mechanical parts, but then someone would like they were just wearing like normal scrubs,
right,
or like someone just like wearing a t-shirt.
Yep.
And I was like, hold on, wait a fucking minute here.
Right.
You have unbelievable cyborg people running around, and you're in a fucking flannel button-down?
Too many questions.
I want to talk about the technology real quick of the film, and we touched on this a little bit in Blade Runner 2049 and some other films like that. It was cool because it's like futuristic technology, but at the same time it's very like analog and it looks old and dirty. Like this is 300 years after what they call the fall, so it's far into the future, but it's cool because like the doctor Christoph Waltz is using these machines that just look like they're on their last leg, if you will, but meanwhile they're fucking doing amazing things that we can only dream of right now.
Oh, right. I want to talk about the cinematography a little bit.
Oh, okay.
The director of photography was Bill Pope, who you might recognize from a lot of Sam Raimi and Edgar Wright movies. Also, your favorite movie, The Matrix.
Oh my god.
I know Kung Fu.
Shame they never made any more of those.
I know, just the one.
Yeah.
It's the smell.
Also, such masterpieces as Blank Check.
Oh! A Disney favorite.
I bring that up because I go back to my really low expectations going into this movie, and all of a sudden, there were some really breathtaking shots, like when she's running along the rooftops in the sunset.
Oh, yeah. I love the scene where when Hugo takes her up to the top of that building for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
This is my secret place. Best view in town.
It was a little jarring when we went from shots like her spinning and her running along the rooftops, etc., and then that's intercut with scenes like crowd shots of all live action, no CGI.
Yeah.
And they look like really, some of them look really cheesy. Like they look really, some of them, I'd say cheap as if we're not sitting here, but for a $200 million movie, they look cheap. They look like they're straight out of like some crowd shot from the fucking Power Rangers, where they just put multicolored spotlights on them, and they're in like they're on like somebody's patio or something. So there were a couple of times where I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, especially because the camera can't move in the same crazy ways that it can during the fight scenes.
Yeah, that's
so all of a sudden you're in a lockdown crane shot, and you're like, whoa, okay, all right, I had to get my bearings again for a second.
Tonight is not a game. It is a hunt.
This didn't do very well at the U.S. box office, but from what I've heard, like, China has really embraced it. I wonder if this had the name. I mean, again, it did have James Cameron as the co-writer, but if this was like a James Cameron film, Alita, Battle Angel coming out, would it have done bigger? Would it have been more popular?
That's an interesting point, because I agree that the marketing did not do this movie justice at all. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm so excited to talk about it, is I hope more people go and see it, because I think it is worth seeing. And that is a damn shame.
Yeah.
I wanted to say about Jennifer Connelly's character.
Yes.
That part of her getting shortchanged on time, screen time, was that the twist that she ends up helping Alita and Hugo at the end kind of comes out of nowhere. Like, she goes out of her way to be literally in bed with the bad guys, and then at the moment where she has her chance to go through with it, she changes her mind and lets them go. I liked the twist that Mahershala Ali's character, Vector, always kept his promise to get people up to the city.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you hear him say that, you're like, oh, okay, this is obviously bullshit.
Yep.
But he says it so much that you start to believe it. And you're like, oh, I guess he really does have the power to do this. But of course, the twist is that he does do it, but in a body bag.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, so it was just really jarring with that character, especially because she saves the day, you don't see her, and the next time you see her, it's her detached brain
and eyeballs and shit in a little suitcase.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So there were a lot of messages in this movie that I appreciated. Outside of the cliches, there were some that I've never heard before in a movie. Mm-hmm. For example, there was a scene where, going along with how there's no subtext in this movie, Alita is literally holding her heart in her hand out to Hugo, and he says, don't give me that. Don't just give your heart away to people, no matter how nice they are to you. And I think that was like recognizing a personality type, and also I felt like that was speaking to sort of the life of a freelance artist. Maybe there was some message about that in this movie.
Put it back.
For the most part, people respected Alita and her autonomy and her right to decide what she wanted to do with her own body.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really great. In that same scene where they're on the rooftop and Hugo wants to kind of reach out to her, and he asks first, and he says, "Can I touch you?"
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a very subtle message beamed into some little kid's brain.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of stuff we need getting in there. So I appreciated that. I also thought they were touching on maybe a little bit of body dysmorphia. Most of the characters in this movie were cyborgs to some extent. What does it mean to be a man or a woman if your whole body is a cyborg? Like, you have a cyborg body,
right?
Your whole body is mechanical. I guess that's contradicting my lack of subtext comment, because I don't think they ever really expressly come out and say that. But maybe it could have used a little more of that, but I appreciated that it was in there at all. That's something that I'm glad to see in there in 2019, just even the acknowledgement of it a little bit.
Well, that's the best I can do for now.
The last message I want to talk about was the final shot of the movie, which was Alita as the champion of the people stepping out onto the world stage, And what does she do? She uses her platform to take out her samurai sword and point it at the upper class.
Yep.
And say, "We're coming for you, motherfuckers." And I thought that was so badass. Like, what an awesome final message and shot to end on.
And now it comes down to the moment where we quality approve or deny Alita Battle Angel. I'll allow you to lead it off.
Oh, thank you. This movie was better than it had any right to be, but I definitely approve Alita Battle Angel. How about you, John? Did we end up in another Blade Runner 2049 scenario?
Oh, Blade Runner 2049. You are denied.
Oh!
I'll never be able to live that down. I would quality approve this movie.
Oh!
I would. It was really fun. It was great. Amazing character development. I'm excited for the sequel, and there better be a sequel. Like you said, get out there, see this movie. Rent it on fucking whatever you stream on, and let's make another one, because we need to see Edward Norton as that bad guy. Come on, man.
No, you don't.
No?
That's getting recast.
What? You think so? I mean, it's not as bad as fucking redheaded Woody Harrelson. At the end of Venom.
I'm Carnage.
Oh my god. Come on, people. Quality approved. Alita Battle Angel.
I'm with her.
Quality approved.
Alita Battleborn.
Welcome back to Quality Assured Films. I'm Mike.
I'm John.
And this is our first one.
Battlefront.
Welcome back to Quality Assured Films. I'm Mike.
I'm John.
And this is our first... I heard the fridge turn on, and I was like...
Alita Battle Angel.
Yes, we had 6 months off, and now we're back.
I'm just getting out all this lip smacking out. So I don't do it.
Welcome back to Quality Assured Films. I'm Mike.
I'm John.
And this...
Sorry, that was so quick.
I'm dead.
Now, enough sequel.
I'm John!
Alita.
Welcome back. I don't know. I fucked it up again!
You have Alita, who was played by who?
Rose...
Alita. Let's talk about the cast for a moment here. You got a whole bunch of people. That's what the cast is. I too would have quality approved this film. Let's talk. Quality fuck proof.
Oh.